Hello, welcome to this video on factoring trinomials of higher order. This is the second video, and we're going to go ahead and pick up back where we left off. All right, so here is the next example. And again, in this example, the first thing that we want to do when we want to factor a polynomial is check for a greatest common factor. And in this case, we do have a greatest common factor, right? They all have a 5 in common. And then do they have any variables? Well, yes, they all have an x. They all have x's, right? And I'm going to take the lowest power one. So I'm going to take x to the first, right? Because they can all give only 1. I can't take 3 from each, right? 20x doesn't have any more x's than 1. So 5x is my GCF. And what's left over is x squared minus 3x plus 4. Okay, so that is step 1. Step 2 is, okay, what are two terms that add up to give us our middle term, which is -3, and multiply to give us our last term here, which is 4. Okay, and well, the answer is none. I don't have any, right? I can have 1 times 4, 2 times 2, 2 times 2, and 4 times 1, where half of these are positive, positive, and then half are negative, negative, right? So none of these go ahead and give me -3. So we're done. This is our answer here, okay? And obviously, I'm not going to have a step 3 difference of squares, or difference of 2 squares, right, abbreviated there, because I don't have any binomials. So we are done. Okay, next example. Here I have a trinomial, and again, step 1, what I'm going to go ahead and do to factor is identify the greatest common factor. So I know I have a 2, it looks like a 2 in common. Okay, and then an x. So that's my GCF. Okay, and left over is 2x squared minus 13x plus 20. Okay, so at this stage, what we want to go ahead and do is use our product method. So a plus b, we want that to equal our middle term. Okay, so that's going to be -13. And then a times b, what times what is going to give us. Okay, and normally we just use our constant value here. This value, what I will call a c, but in this case we have a leading coefficient that's a capital A. And if you consider this to be your middle term, right? So sometimes this is referred to as the AC method, the product sum AC method, or the product and sum method. Okay, so it's called the AC method. It gets that name because you have to multiply your A and your C. So I'm going to take my leading coefficient, A times C, and that is 40. Okay, so what we want when this is again because you have a leading coefficient of an A value. You have to do that. If we look back at this example, notice our A value was just 1. So when you have a leading coefficient of 1, right, it's 1 times 4 is still 4. And if I go back up here to this example, again, when I did this, right, my A value here was 1. So 1 times -8 is still -8. Okay, so when you do have a leading coefficient, you have to go ahead and multiply that. So just kind of be aware that when your trinomial has a leading coefficient, you have to do it this way. Okay, so what factors of 40 give us -13? And I can go ahead, list 1 and 40, 2 and 20, 4 and 10, and 5 and 8. Okay, and I think since our b value is negative, all of these have to be negative. Okay, and that's going to be -5 and -8. So I'll go ahead and rewrite this. 2x times 2x squared. And I have to rewrite my 13x. So I'll say minus 5x minus 8x plus 20. Okay, then I'll go ahead and factor out the greatest common factor. So I have an x. And over here I have a negative 4, it looks like, leaving behind 2x minus, I took out a negative 5. Okay, so then we get 2x times x minus 4 times 2x minus 5, and we are done. Okay, again, step 3, I guess I shouldn't rush past this. Do we have any difference of 2 squares? And the answer is no, none. So we are done. Okay, that is it for those examples. I do have some practice problems. Please go ahead, pause the video, and I want you to try this one. All right, hopefully you pause the video. You do have a GCF of x initially, and then again, notice here's your a term, here's your c term. So you want 2 factors that add up to give you your b value, which is 7, and you want 2 terms that multiply to give you a times c, which is 12. Okay, and so that would be obviously 3 and 4. Okay, and then here is your solution. All right, next example. Here you go. Please pause the video, try this one. All right, hopefully you pause the video. Here is the solution. Again, we have a GCF of 4x squared. Okay, and again, I have an a value here. So a times c is negative 12. So a plus b is going to be 1, right? That's your b term here. It's an invisible 1. And then, whoa, it's glitching out on me. A times b is going to be negative 12. Okay, and that looks like it would be a negative 3 and a positive 4 are going to be your middle terms. Okay, all right. And then last but not least, here is the very last practice problem. Please go ahead, pause the video, and try this one. Okay, hopefully you tried it. Here is the solution. All right, you have a GCF of x, and again, a plus b has to equal negative 9, and a times b has to equal negative 10. So that's going to be a positive 1 and a negative 10. Okay, and then you can factor out to get your factored form. Okay, that is it for this video. I'll catch you next time. Be safe, be healthy, be easy. Peace.